on. On. Hey.
Wonderful. Did you get the echo this morning?
I think I figured it out. It's a little
Awesome. What did you
convoluted,
do?
but I think I figured it out. How to uh you, you can have multiple devices plugged in to run sound. So what's running sound for Zoom is not the same thing that's running sound for the Facebook feed. So I figured that out. I just figured that out this morning though.
Oh, that's
I'm slow.
awesome.
I'm slow that way, but
Sometimes it takes, I always say thoughts, music, it's kind of like wine and cheese. Sometimes they just need to sit for a while, and just kind of marinate and do it its thing, and
right.
then it will come clear.
That's interesting because I often think in terms of well, I'll give you an example for me. Back in 2015, I think I met a woman, and there was an attraction between us, and I was married at the time, and I didn't think she would be interested, obviously interested in somebody who's married. So, but my daughter made a drawing that looked like this woman.
Oh,
And so I had it up in my office, and I would look at it sometimes. And 2 years down the road, that relationship manifested itself.
oh my
So
goodness.
that
So it
this is
was, uh,
yeah. Yeah. So this is the woo in action. This is the idea of thoughts create your results in action for me, and that's one of the reasons why I believe it. But like you were saying, it was like the wine or cheese. I had to let it sit for like 2 years before it actually came true. So
I'm finding that in a lot of even the personal work we're doing now and in my spiritual walk for sure. Sometimes you get to a point and you think you understand it, but you kind of just put it away for a while,
mhm,
and then one day you're reading something else,
mhm.
and then that whole thing just comes to light.
Yeah, yeah,
You just
exactly.
needed that one little puzzle piece and for yourself to just, ruminate on it for a while.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you're
So
right.
yeah,
I even 6 months ago, I am so different than I was.
yeah,
You know, I
yeah.
um, I mean, I've told everybody now about my, dealing with the narcotics
Hmm.
and, coming alive. And I can say for a fact that changing your thoughts will change your life because let's see, June, July, August, September, October, 4 months that
Hmm.
I've been pursuing this.
Hmm.
And my life is completely different.
Yeah,
And it's amazing.
yeah,
And you really can manifest your life, you can create your life.
yeah,
And I think one of the biggest things with that is the self love.
yeah, for
So,
sure.
because for me, that goes along with believing in yourself, of course, and trusting yourself that your instincts are what you need or for example, I have been listening to my body lately
Hmm.
on health issues,
Hmm.
on nutrition
Hmm.
issues, and your body will tell you what it needs.
Yeah,
And it's amazing to me that that is a mindset that I didn't even think would be possible. But yet, when I started the transformation in June, in earnest in June, that all these other things are changing as a result that I never thought would change
yeah, yeah,
just because of taking control of those mental thoughts.
yeah. That's so powerful, and I think it's a lesson for everybody maybe listening to is like well, like me. And I don't know about you, but like me for sure. When I get impatient, I go back. I'll go back to what you said about the wine and cheese, right? It's
Yeah.
like when I get impatient that life is not changing fast enough, and the things I want aren't happening, aren't manifesting as fast as I want them to. I'll just remember that. Well, in the grand scheme of things, even go back to my example of the relationship I manifested with my former girlfriend. So there's some irony there, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, um, you know, 2 years in the grand scheme of things is not really that long, and it needed that much time for it to work out properly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that I didn't know then that I know now is, like you said, loving yourself. So I can't be dissatisfied that I'm not getting the results I want right now, and think that when I get the results I want, that's going to be the magic switch that flips, and then everything is fantastic. It's like, no, the only time I'm living is right now in the present moment. I've got to love myself in this moment, and I've got to enjoy this moment no matter what my circumstances are. So it's like for me, like I always use the I guess analogy of weight loss. For me, I've lost almost 80 pounds, but
Fantastic.
it's been 13 years or 14 years, right? And so if I were waiting until, if I get down to 180 pounds, that then everything's going to be perfect, then that's kind of missing the point. It's got the real point is I have to love myself through the journey at every stage of the journey.
That actually reminds me of something that you said, like right when I first started to listen to, some of your postings, about you thought when you got to get your doctoral degree that
Yeah.
that's when you were going to be
Yep.
happy.
Yep. Yep.
And I can relate to what you're saying as far as, the weight loss. For me, I also have the issues of mobility
Mm.
due to, severe arthritis and you
Yeah.
name it. Um, and so that's where I get impatient.
Mm.
I really like now I have all these things, these plans I know I'm going to do, and my body won't cooperate. And so
Mm.
that's where my frustration comes in.
Mm.
So that's what I'm working on right now is just, you can't be frustrated.
Right.
You can't. It's the process. And I am a process person. I like as a musician,
Oh yeah, yeah. Musicians, I think
we're
that's the only way you can be
collaborators.
successful is to have
Yeah.
a process or a practice that you follow every day is just your way of living in the world. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the same thing, that's kind of the business side. And then the same thing with the spiritual side, the practice of it, the years
Right.
of doing and becoming more and more present. I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but those are the words I can use now,
Hmm.
you know. And something for me personally that I've noticed lately is that, I've had the so many years of doing the spiritual walk since 98, I think is when I really began in earnest. And I've been teaching for, over 30 years.
Hmm.
So in those two areas, my confidence, my self-talk is good. But then you get to the personal life, which I kind of put in the middle, and that's where I wasn't applying that. And I've come to realize this last week that I've learned a lot of these lessons about, good self-talk, etc., in my other aspects of my life. I
Hmm.
just didn't
Yeah.
apply it.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah. That's
apply the
really
knowledge.
powerful.
And so I've been taking like very careful care when I come into new situations to say how, to pull in that knowledge from those other parts of me,
Mm. Oh yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
and so
Yeah.
then I have a plan. It's almost like I'm teaching myself. It sounds
Yeah.
crazy, but that's how it feels. It's because I know how to do it in business. I know how to do that in my spiritual walk.
Mm.
So it's just applying it and recognizing that I have that skill. It
Yeah.
just needs to be applied. So
Yeah.
that's what I've been really, really. you know, a while back, I cannot remember the member. I'm so sorry, I cannot remember your name, but it was a gentleman, and he was reading from a journal when after he had been with his coach. And he
Mm.
had talked about how he was trying to integrate all the different parts of himself into one.
Uh-huh.
And I remember watching that and thinking, this is so significant for me, but I didn't know why. And so I saved it and I've watched it several times. But now that I've come into this season, that is so powerful for me because that's sort of what I'm doing. I'm bringing, those three parts of me to be just me.
Mm. Yeah, I love
You
that. I
know
love
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not
Yeah.
a business Maria and a spiritual Maria, although those two people are the same.
Right, right.
So it's
And
just raising up little Maria
yeah.
in the middle.
Yeah, that the lesson there, I think is something that this language goes around all the time. It's like you be yourself in every situation. So you don't have to change, you don't have to put on a facade when you're in business as opposed to when you're in your spiritual life, as opposed to when you're in your physical life, as opposed to when you're in your relationships with other people. You don't have to do that if you are in integrity with yourself the whole time and you're always yourself no matter what.
It's
That's
so much it's easier and it's
yeah. Yeah, I like that. It's easier
it
because
is
it
easier.
is.
It
Yeah.
it's sort of like I guess I don't know, maybe I was in my 20s or so, but I decided that, I was going to speak the truth all the time, no matter how difficult it was. Well, I
Mhm.
wasn't very good at it.
Mhm.
But oh my goodness, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh.
So you decided you were going to speak the truth no matter what.
And so when I get to this part of my journey, I added I'm going to speak the truth in love. And
Oh
so
yeah,
that's,
that's good. That's
yes.
really good.
So
Yeah.
that was sort of my promise to myself that I would be as authentic as I could be, which is, being yourself wherever
Yeah.
you are,
Yeah.
and to speak the truth in love.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
not everybody in my family is a fan of that particular one. Like every family, we all have our issues, but one thing that my family is kind of hush hush. And, I'll tell you this, but don't tell them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and
That's
I can't remember who I'm supposed to tell and not tell. I just can't do
yeah.
that.
That's the part that becomes exhausting.
And I won't, so I don't,
Yeah.
so I have been telling whoever I'm speaking to, well, you need to go tell them that. So, and if you don't want me to tell them, don't tell me.
Oh yeah. That's good.
And just like setting those boundaries.
Mm.
And that's part of self-love.
Yeah.
That's saying, I'm not, this is who I am, and I'm not gonna, for any reason, cross that boundary,
Yeah.
you know? Even with my people who I love so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another part of the work that we do, and it's an ongoing process. It's not something that you just decide once and then it's done. It's you're working on it over and over again. You're
Mm,
remembering that's who you are, and you're assessing whether you're living in integrity with that all the time. At least for me, that's I'm assessing. Well, okay, am I being authentically myself in this situation as much as I well, I was gonna say as much as I want to be, but am I being no matter what? Am I being that no
yes.
matter what? Yeah.
I remember one time I was at church and the pastor had talked about, are you the same at church or as you are outside?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know? And so I actually asked my children. They were in the high school age. And
Mm.
so I said, am I the same at home as I am at church? And
Mm.
luckily they said yes,
That's good. That's good.
except for the yelling mother, because I have a little bit of a hot temper sometimes that I'm working on.
Mhm.
But that made me feel like, okay, I am being who I am. You know, this
Mm,
was before really I started having so much trouble in my life
mm,
at the end of my marriage. Um, and so, you know, I kind of forgot all that. And now it's, you know, I don't know if I stored it away somewhere to be opened later,
uh,
but I
uh,
am opening it and, you know, remembering you are who you are and you love yourself,
mm, yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
even at the
As you were
times you
talking, oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, 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 go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, as you were talking about church, and for me, I guess my church is yoga, and
Yes,
and
absolutely.
and in yoga, we often talk about who you are on the mat is you want that to be the same as who you are off the mat. So in other words, you want the practice that you're doing when you're doing the yoga practice to be the practice you're doing all the time. You want to
It's
be in integrity with yourself, no matter if you're quote unquote practicing whatever discipline you're practicing, or whether you're not, because it's all a practice. It's all a union of, you know,
exactly.
being, and for me that's been really helpful with just being aware of my body, because
Oh, I am
on the
sure.
mat I'm always thinking about the way my body feels, and it's like when I'm off the mat, let's pay attention to that as well, right?
Yeah. That's very interesting. My cousin teaches yoga one
Mm,
day a week on Sundays, and so she often posts things that I love to read. You know, just different things. I did yoga for a little while before I moved down here with my best friend Susan.
mm,
She and I used to pick different things. We took tap, we
mm.
took yoga, we
Uh,
did water aerobics. Like
uh,
we just did different things together to keep ourselves, you know, bodies moving.
yeah, yeah,
And I know that I stopped doing that when I came down here. That's a practice that I stopped because of, I mean, it's an excuse. I know that. I'll raise my hand to that right now. But it is so darn hot down here. I
mm.
just don't like to even go outside.
Well, some people like to do hot yoga.
Oh, no, not for me. I'll do ice yoga, maybe.
Uh-huh. Uh,
But I think that's wonderful. You know, you're building your core, and that's what I've been trying to do. I mean, as far as even the muscle system, you know,
yeah.
I talked to a friend who's a dancer. She and I taught together at a dance studio, and I kind of told her my issues with, you know, how my body, and she suggested, because I did ballet for many years of my life,
Mm.
so she suggested that there are some bar exercises you can do on your back.
Oh,
So they take you
that's
through bar
yeah,
exercises, and then there are arm and core exercises that you do without, like, seated.
yeah,
So I think that I'm going to start that because, you know, a yoga for me is something that just brings that core so strong, your
yeah.
inner, you know, and that's what I need to move forward. So
Yeah,
I'm going to
and
try a
the other
little.
thing that I think, going back to self love,
Hmm.
for me, for me, the yoga workout is always an opportunity. It's like an opportunity every day to see where I am and
Hmm.
accept myself where I am,
That's wonderful.
and that's a really powerful thing. Actually, well, we're
We're
done.
done.
We went a little bit over. It's amazing how fast these go,
Hmm.
but thank you, Maria, for being a guest with us on being together. Well, not with
I
us, with me, because Sabelle not here. But yeah, this was a great experience. So
I completely enjoyed myself as well. And I love watching you guys, so continue, please.
we will continue for sure. That's
That
our.
sounds great. All right. Thanks for
Mhm.
having me
All
on. I
right.
appreciate it.
Thanks everybody for joining us, and
Bye.
we'll stop it. There we go. Boom. Oh.